12 people are dead, 8 are wounded, 4 in critical condition as terrorists opened fire in the offices of the French satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo. This all took place in Paris around 11:30 a.m. Paris time. The 3 gunmen, are still at large. World leaders have expressed their sympathy and condemnation of the attacks. Prime Minister David Cameron of Britain had this to say in Parliament this morning.
I know that this House and this country stands united with the French people in our opposition to all forms of terrorism, and we stand squarely for free speech and democracy. And these people will never be able to take us off those values.
British Prime Minister David Cameron, he along with German Chancellor Angela Merkel, are set to hold a news conference later in the hour, which we will cover live. It is taking place at 10 Downing Street to discuss the future of the European Union and, of course, today's attack. For more, let's bring in Bloomberg's own Ryan Chilcote. He is standing by outside of 10 Downing Street. Ryan, how does today's attack change the dialogue between Prime Minister David Cameron and Angela Merkel?
Well, it changes it completely. The official reason the German Chancellor is in London today is because she wanted to discuss the G7 and her agenda for the G7. Germany's hosting the big G7 summit, the Bavarian Alps, in June, and she wanted to discuss it with the British Prime Minister. Then this happened. Both leaders, of course, condemning the events in France, both saying that it was barbaric. I say the official reason for the German Chancellor's visit was to discuss the G7, but what the British Prime Minister really wanted to talk about is this country's relationship with the European Union and his desire to curb immigration of EU migrants coming into this country. There's no direct link, of course, between the events in France today, but there is a bit of an indirect one, if you will. It certainly puts a little bit of a charge to the political conversation about immigration in this country. Pim?
And Ryan, this is Brendan. Both of these leaders, Angela Merkel and David Cameron, have domestic politics of their own to worry about that are very much informed by what happened in Paris this morning. You have the UK Independence Party, which is dragging David Cameron to the right, and Angela Merkel is dealing with protests, anti-immigrant protests in her own country. So both of them are looking to home as well, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I think there's a little bit of a difference if you think about UKIP that you're referring to there. The leader of that party just in the last couple of weeks has said that they're not a racist movement. In fact, he said that if they were a racist movement or perceived that way, that would be the end of their existence and rise, because they really have been on the rise here in this country. They describe themselves as an anti-EU party. They are against immigration, wherever that comes from, not necessarily Islamic. But in Germany, it is very much an anti-Islamist movement that is taking place there, and we see those demonstrations. Just yesterday, the German Chancellor spoke against the anti-Islamist movement in her New Year's address to the German people. So, yeah, it's very much informing their thoughts in the discussions today.